Please be seated. There is a truism in business and popular psychology that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So a person who is habitually late to one job is unlikely to start showing up early for another one. Or a bridesmaid who is perpetually driving around with an almost empty tank is unlikely to show up with extra oil for her lamp. And if this is really true, that past behavior, it really is the best predictor of future behavior, then we might well wonder, what in the world was Joshua thinking? In our first reading today, he is gathering people together and making a covenant with them where they swear that they will serve the Lord. Now, remember, these are the same people who for several generations have been wandering in the wilderness, griping and complaining and not following directions, making golden calves and whatnots, and generally doing everything except serving God and doing what God needs them to do. But today, they swear that all of that is behind them, and they promise that they are going to serve God from now on. Seems doomed to fail, doesn't it? And sure enough, as soon as Joshua dies, the people go right back to doing, quote, what was offensive to the Lord, and worshiping and serving the Baalim, the local gods. So I don't know. Maybe idolatry, chasing after other gods just runs too deep. Joshua even reminds them of this, right? Long ago, he says, your ancestors, Terah and his sons, Abram and Nahor, they lived beyond the Euphrates and they served other gods. So maybe it's in our DNA. Maybe we are simply doomed to wander off, lamps half full, chasing after the first glittering image that we see in the hopes that some other god can fill up our diminishing supplies of hope and faith and love. Well, a bit of good news. It turns out that past behavior, being a predictor of future behavior, can be true, but only in very specific, limited circumstances. And people can actually change. In fact, we change all the time. We age, our hair goes gray, our skin becomes less elastic, our eyesight changes, our agility and mobility shifts, hormone levels change, our emotions rise and fall, we get sick, sometimes we recover, and we learn, don't we? We learn new ideas, we acquire new skills. We are changing all the time because we are whole, complex living systems, and we are embedded in and always adapting to our surroundings. The trouble is, we rarely stop long enough to realize that, to become fully conscious of where we really are and what we are really up to and how deeply interwoven we are with absolutely everything around us. We are rarely fully awake and alive to the dynamic, generative, evolving, divine essence that we truly are. And we are rarely so fully awake because we are usually so busy running around looking for metaphoric oil for our metaphoric lamps, or for other people's lamps, or worried about why some people have all this oil and other people don't have any, and whose fault is that, and how can we fix it? Mostly, I think what we mean when we ask, can people really change, is not, can I awaken to the majesty and fall trusting fully into the mystery that is the glory and complexity of human life and human love. No, usually when we ask, can people ever change, what we mean is, will some people ever learn to bring enough oil? Will I ever learn to bring enough oil? Will we ever not be seduced by the flimsy promises of false gods? Increase your productivity, maximize your potential, grow your bottom line, be better, stronger, faster, thinner, younger, live longer, find inner peace and balance and your ultimate purpose in life, and all in just 20 minutes a day. What if we could stop? What if we simply changed the question? And instead of asking, how can I change? How can I be better, be different? What can I get out of this? Where can I get some of that oil? What if instead we started practicing becoming aware of the deep interconnections that already exist between us and among us? And by us, I mean the whole commonwealth of creation, the cosmos. What if we became aware of how God is always supporting and sustaining and moving through everything, and then asked, in this place, here and now, in this gathered community, what is needed here and now? And am I the right person to contribute to this need here and now? And we practice awaking to all of that, remember, by doing things like listening deeply to one another, by staying curious, by speaking honestly and vulnerably, by spending time unplugged and in silence, by getting some rest, and above all, by being present, by being fully present in our lives. Because there's nothing wrong with being prepared. And Matthew certainly uses this story of the wise and foolish bridesmaids to drive home that point of be prepared, right? But I still wonder what would have happened if the 5 hadn't gone off in search of oil. What if they had just stayed there, waiting with the others in the diminishing light? Don't you think that they would have been welcomed as well into the banquet when the bridegroom finally showed up? And it seems to me that what keeps them out of the banquet is not their empty lamps, but the fact that they are not present when the bridegroom arrives. God doesn't require more stuff from us. God requires more of us. Not our lamps and our oil, but our presence, our whole selves. And we serve God not by endlessly striving for self-improvement or tilting at windmills. We serve God by simply showing up and being fully who we have been created to be, and by not running off the moment a challenge arises. So to return to Joshua, it is up to you, to each one of us, to choose this day and every day whom you will serve. Whether you will serve God and show up and be present as fully as possible and stay in the present, continuing to ask what is needed here and now, and do I have the resources to respond in love, to respond in a way that honors the connectedness, the integrity, the belovedness of all of creation? Or will I choose to run off looking for something else, somewhere else? As for me and my household, I pray that we will continue to serve the Lord. Amen.